وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم.
All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon the leader of the messengers. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to sleep, not for a night or two, but for centuries? To wake up in a world where your name is forgotten, your home is gone, and history has left you behind. Yet your story is just beginning? Stay with us as we explore one of the most powerful, mysterious, and awe-inspiring stories in Islamic tradition. The story of the sleepers of the cave. Welcome to Quran and Sunnah, where we bring timeless lessons from our faith into the present day. The story begins in a city ruled by tyranny and corruption, a place where people worship false gods, and those who spoke the truth were punished. In this place lived a group of young men. They were not prophets, they were not kings, but what made them different was their unwavering belief in one God. In a time when falsehood surrounded them and fear silenced many, these youths chose to stand up for what they believed in. Their hearts were filled with sincerity and conviction, but when their belief was discovered, they were forced to make a difficult decision: stay and risk being tortured or killed, or leave everything behind for the sake of their faith. And so they fled. They escaped the city, climbing into the wilderness, searching for safety. Every step they took was fueled by trust in God. With them was a dog, loyal and protective. This dog would later be remembered as a part of their miracle. It guarded them as they found refuge in a cave hidden deep within the mountains. Exhausted, hungry, and uncertain of what would happen next, the young men gathered and made a heartfelt prayer for mercy, for protection, and for guidance. They had no idea that what would happen next would turn their small act of faith into a sign for generations to come. In the cool shade of that cave, they closed their eyes and they slept. But this was no ordinary sleep. Time passed, slowly at first, then quickly, then centuries rushed by like minutes. Outside, empires fell and new ones rose. Languages changed. Generations came and went. The world they knew disappeared. But inside that cave, the young men lay still, untouched by time, preserved without decay. Not even the sun disturbed their rest. The environment shifted to protect them. Nothing could harm them. No one knew they were there. No one even remembered who they were. Yet their story was not over. And then one day, they awoke, just like that. They looked at one another, stretching, confused. "How long have we been here?" one of them asked. "A day?" "Maybe just part of a day," another replied. Hungry, they decided to send one of them into the city to buy food, carefully without drawing attention. The danger, they believed, was still present. But what he found in the city was unbelievable. The buildings were unfamiliar. The people dressed differently. The streets no longer followed the paths they remembered. When he tried to pay for food using his old coins, people stared. Merchants questioned him. How could he have coins that hadn't been used in hundreds of years? Word spread quickly. The authorities were called. A crowd gathered. This wasn't just a stranger from out of town. This was something extraordinary. The city's leaders listened to his story. Slowly, the truth became clear. These were the same young men who had disappeared generations ago. Their escape had become a legend, a myth. But now they were here, alive, and their story was real. Not long after their discovery, their time in this world came to an end. The purpose of their return had been fulfilled. Their cave became a symbol, a reminder, a sacred site visited by those who wanted to remember what true faith looks like. Their names were not preserved in detail. Their exact number was not the focus. Their location was never revealed with certainty. because the lesson was never in the details. The lesson was in the meaning. They were ordinary youth with extraordinary faith, and their story was meant to inspire, not to satisfy curiosity. So what can we learn from them today? These young men lived in a time of pressure, a time when holding on to truth meant sacrificing everything. Yet they chose to remain sincere. They didn't have armies. They didn't have wealth. They didn't even have a place to sleep safely. But they had certainty in their hearts, and that was enough. Their dog, a humble creature, was remembered not because it did anything heroic, but because it stayed by their side. Loyalty, even from an animal, was honored by God. Their story is a reminder that age doesn't limit faith. Youth is not an excuse for carelessness. And sometimes, stepping away from society is what it takes to preserve belief. Their trust in God led to a miracle, and their patience turned them into a living proof that life, death, and time are all in the hands of the Creator. So next time you feel alone for standing up for your faith, next time you wonder if your small act of belief matters, remember the young men of the cave. They thought they were escaping danger, but they were entering history. They laid down with uncertainty and woke up with a legacy that still moves hearts 1,400 years later. This was the story of Ashab al-Kahf, the sleepers of the cave. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope, courage, or a reminder that sincere faith never goes unnoticed. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us here on Quran and Sunnah, where we bring you stories that awaken the soul. Until next time, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.